My name is Beverly, and I've been at Elevate Life Church since 2014. I moved to Frisco from the beautiful island of Oahu. That was a hard move. Sometimes I think, I wish I was still there. I actually was born in Jacksonville, Florida, at an abortion adoption clinic. I was very lucky that I was born instead of aborted. And the doctor that delivered me had a list of people to call who were looking to adopt babies. My mother used to just get the biggest joy out of telling me about the phone call and how excited they were. And they were 33 years old and couldn't have children, so they were waiting and waiting. They were the best thing that ever happened to me. I look back and God was holding my hand even when I was in my birth mother's womb. Not long ago, I got a text saying, "Hey Bev, would you like to be in a photo shoot for She Time?" And of course I said, yeah, that would be fun. Of course I knew nothing about it until I arrived on the rooftop of a parking garage in Frisco, and there were these amazing, beautiful young women. And we spent an hour and a half on the rooftop. And it seems that we laughed the entire time. And I would look over and there was this cute little teenager, and I thought, I've never seen her before. And so I asked her what her name was, and she said Presley, and that she was in the 9th grade. And so we just asked basic questions. And I thought, that's how I want my grandchildren to be, just like Presley.
My name's Presley Gray, and I didn't grow up in Frisco, but now I live in Frisco with my aunt and uncle. Whenever my mom was pregnant with me, she was in rehab. They had planned to go to a TD Jakes service in Dallas, and afterwards she had an appointment for an abortion. And in the TD Jakes service, she felt that God just called her to not have an abortion, and now she had me in rehab, and then going out of that was really difficult. So as I was growing up, she was still struggling with like alcohol and drug problems. From then I always had like my Mimi growing up, which was like my backbone. If anything went wrong, I always would like go live with her. My Mimi always like implemented like faith into my life. But I was obviously younger and it wasn't as big of a picture. And then she passed away when I was in 5th grade. So after she passed away, my mom was just really like struggling. She, at that time, even prior, she was still struggling with her drug and alcohol addiction. So in 6th grade, we were living with like family friends because we were just having trouble with like finances and stuff. So I started living with them, and one day like my mom just disappeared. I lived with them for almost a year, and then they adopted me September 30th of 2019, and I still get to see my family and I still talk to my mom, but now I can just like have peace knowing that I'm like with parents. And then I started coming to Elevate because I was living in Frisco, and I just got invited one day, and then it's like my whole life just changed. I definitely always struggled with not having like a father figure in my life. And I remember whenever I went to She Time, Michelle Brogan was speaking about adoption.
And some of you, you're using your past also to define if you've been adopted and you've been chosen. And God is saying, I'm the one through my blood that has adopted you. I have come and got you out of that cage. I have come and got you out of that situation. So no matter if a man leaves you, a husband leaves you, if your daddy left you, you're still adopted.
I was thinking about I was adopted. I didn't know that Presley was adopted, but I saw her go down front and she was praying. And when they finished, she came walking back up toward where I was, and she saw me, and I put my arms out to her because I could tell she was crying, and I just hugged her for a minute. And I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Well, the service just kind of reminded me that I was adopted and what I'd been through, and that I really have been God's daughter all these years. It wasn't that I was alone, and I didn't have a necessary physical father that I could lean on, but I had God, and He'd been there all my life. And I said, that is impactful. And I said, and I was adopted, and we have sort of a little similar story. She happened to tell me that her Mimi had been one of the most important people in her life, and that she had passed away. And I said, well, I'm old enough to be your Mimi, but I'm going to be your Tutu. And she just looked at me kind of funny. But Tutu is what Hawaiian children call their grandmother. So that night I became Presley's adopted Tutu. And I'm so thrilled to have her in my life.
Beverly was like, well, I'm gonna adopt you to be my granddaughter then for your Mimi. It's just made my heart so happy, to know that people have a heart of love, even if they're not actually your family. She was really generous, and she reminded me a lot of my Mimi in that moment, that she's just has a heart of giving and love like God does. I was so excited. I remember I went home and I was like, guys, I'm so excited. But it was awesome, and I'm really thankful that I met Beverly. I would just encourage everybody to just find their family of choice, because it really does have such an impact on you. And just to find wisdom, that's what I've gotten so much out of family of choice, doing life with other people who want to love like you. And so I encourage you to go to Wave Night. I encourage you to come to service. I encourage you to serve. And it can be scary, it can be hard, but it's so, so worth it.
We have so many bright, talented young people at our church, and I look forward to them being my leader so I can follow some new things, but to see the joy in these young people as they serve God. Watch the young people, cheer for them. It's all for the glory of God, and that's why we're all here.